Hi, I'm Mike Tupper with the Marshalltown Police Department. I'm here today with Sarah Tupper from the Marshall County Attorney's Office, and we'd like to talk to you today about Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Every April, communities across the United States bring more awareness to the issue of sexual assault and the impact that it has on local communities. In 2019, the Marshalltown Police Department investigated 59 sexual assault related crimes. That's a big number just by itself, but when you consider that only about 20 to 30% of these crimes are reported, that means we have a lot of unreported sexual assault related crimes in our community that are not being addressed, and there's a lot of different reasons those crimes go unreported. I think the biggest problem is there's a stigma still associated with being the victim of a sexual assault crime, and we all need to work together as a community to address that stigma so that people feel more comfortable in coming forward. Sarah, what kind of things do you do with the County Attorney's Office in terms of sexual assault crimes, and how do you think the stigma might impact your ability to do your job?
Well, I think that the stigma can have an impact in terms of whether victims are willing to come forward and work with our office in prosecuting these crimes. And our office wants victims to know that we want to work with them and help them through this process. My position is partially funded by a Violence Against Women Act grant, and so that allows one person in my office to focus on sexual assault crimes. So I'm able to go to trainings and develop expertise in those prosecutions so that hopefully our office can have better outcomes, a better experience for survivors of sexual assault, and we're more likely to be able to hold offenders accountable. We also want victims to know that we're committed to helping them through the process and in working closely with them. We have a victim witness coordinator who works with all sexual assault survivors in our office who have crimes that are being prosecuted by our office, and that person helps them through the criminal process, explains the criminal process to them, helps them through it, helps them file requests for victim restitution so they can be reimbursed for any financial losses they've suffered as a result of the crime. She refers them to other community agencies who can offer assistance. She helps them prepare victim impact statements to explain to judges how they've been affected by the sexual assault crime. And so we want victims to know that we're committed to helping them through the process. We want them to understand that they have a voice in the process and that their wishes are going to be respected. So we hope that that makes people realize that maybe it's a little bit easier for them to come forward and have these crimes prosecuted.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that we do want victims to have a voice in the process, and the police department feels the same way. So if somebody comes to the police department to report a sexual assault crime, they're given lots of different options, and they're not required to commit to an investigation or a prosecution. We talk to them about their different options and the different resources that we can provide to them, because we want people to feel safe and we want them to feel like they have power in the situation and have a choice in how the issue is going to be resolved. Now, here in Marshall County, we utilize a multidisciplinary approach. And Sarah, I was wondering if you could maybe talk a little bit about how that works and the different organizations we work with, Saint Nurses, Advocacy, that sort of thing.
Sure. So many times when a sexual assault crime is reported, it's either first reported to the police department or the sheriff's office, to a law enforcement officer, or it's reported to someone at the hospital. A victim goes to the hospital, and a SANE, who is a sexual assault nurse examiner, often works with the survivor and performs a sexual assault kit. So then my office, if charges are pursued and the victim does want to move forward with a prosecution and with criminal charges, we get involved. So we work with the SANE, the sexual assault nurse examiner, we work with law enforcement, we work with our local sexual assault victim organization, Access, and there are other community organizations that get involved. So we're hoping that the more people that can help this victim, the more needs that we can meet, and the more comfortable we can make the victim feel throughout the process.
And I think using a multidisciplinary approach allows for the victim to, again, have more choices. Maybe they decide that they don't want law enforcement assistance with this issue, but we can offer them advocacy through Access so they can get some resources to help them through this very difficult time. I think what's important for our community to remember, though, is that we're all in this together. This is a community problem. And we all need to be talking about sexual assault, family violence, domestic violence as a community to come up with solutions. And too often, People are aware of people being victimized in our community, but they decide, well, it's somebody else's problem, that's a family problem, I'm not going to get involved. We need everybody to be involved with these issues and involved with the policing that goes on in our community. I want to share two numbers with you. The first number is if you're the victim of a sexual assault, you can always report those crimes in Marshall County by calling 911, or our non-emergency number is 641-754-5725. Those numbers are answered 24 hours a day. Access is the local advocacy organization in Marshall County that provides services to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault, and their toll-free number is 800-203-3488. So working together with the Marshall County Attorney's Office, Access, the hospital, many social services organizations in Marshalltown, we're working to combat these crimes, and as a community, I think we can have a big impact on these crimes. So thanks for listening, and if anybody has any questions, they can always contact me at the Marshalltown Police Department, 641-754-5725.